They do the ultrasound, and the ultrasound tech, she had a good face. She kept a good face. She was just like, oh, well, you know, I see her trying to breathe. I see her breathe, but she's not moving too much.
But mind you, I had ultrasounds 2 or 3 times a week, so I already know how to read the ultrasound.
Oh, you already knew?
I knew she wasn't moving.
Okay. So I didn't have that many ultrasounds during my pregnancy. That was like, I had 2, and then that one was my 3rd one.
Yeah, she just wasn't moving, but everything, like when they would measure the blood flow to the brain and stuff, like all that stuff was good, so I wasn't worried. But she just wasn't moving in the ultrasound. She tried to do everything to like move her and stuff, and she just wouldn't.
So then the doctor comes in, and this is a doctor who wasn't a part of my practice, so I guess she's just a hospital, not just a hospital doctor, but she's a labor and delivery doctor that wasn't a part of the practice that I went to.
Amazing though.
Yeah, she was awesome. So she comes in and she's like, okay, so I don't have good news. Like, she was just very direct. And I was like, okay. And she goes, we're going to need to deliver this baby. And I don't remember if I started crying then. I just remember you kind of like coming next to me, rubbing my shoulder, rubbing my back. Because the queen, I was 36 weeks pregnant. So the queen knew I wanted to get to 40 weeks. I prayed, I manifested on 40 weeks. So she goes,
ready to have a baby.
You always ready to have a baby. So she tells us, she's like, we can do it 2 ways. She said, we can induce you and we can wait for the baby to come on her own, or you can have a scheduled C-section. I knew I didn't want to get induced because I knew if I get induced, it's a higher chance of having an emergency C-section. And I was against C-sections unless it was like medically necessary. But when they told me, I didn't even say why. So they had said on the ultrasound that they had seen blood.
Right.
And then I also had low amniotic
in the
fluid.
placenta. Like around the placenta, you had a blood clot or something.
Right. And I had burst. So I'm guessing that was the cramp that I felt. Mm-hmm. That was really bad. So they said, no one said it directly, but they had basically said it was good that I had came in when I came in.
Yeah.
So
they were basically saying that like you saved your lives.
So yeah. So she was basically saying, I know she corrected me a couple times, but then she was kind of like correcting me, but then saying the same thing. Like, so I told her I just want to go ahead and do a scheduled C-section because when we had Harper, for them like worrying about heartbeat, them rushing in, shaving Sequina, throwing clothes at me, like rushing us out, like that was just dramatic. So I just wanted, if I had to do a C-section, I just wanted it to be on our terms. So I'm in the room like shivering and shaking, not even because of any medicine, because I'm scared.
I think I'm asking them, well, what am I gonna hear?
Y'all remember that movie where that guy was supposed to be on anesthesia and he woke up during his surgery?
Alright, sorry y'all, we had to do a brief intermission and grab Holland because she didn't appreciate us telling her birth story without her.
I know, this became my birth story, so, which I've been wanting to talk about. So, what part was that at?
You didn't want the emergency C-section because, you know what, I went through was all the drama and everything.
Yeah, so anyway, so
maybe you should tell them why you were so against C-sections. I don't think you could say that and not give an explanation.
Okay, so it's not that like I was against C-sections for like people, and I don't even want to say this because everyone makes certain decisions, but for us, I didn't want to have like a scheduled C-section just because it was convenient. Just because like, oh, okay, I can have a baby on a Thursday, be home Friday. So I didn't want to have a C-section out of convenience. And then while I was pregnant the whole summer, I think there were maybe 3 or 4 high-profile cases of, you know, Black women passing away during pregnancy, a lot of times due to preeclampsia and C-sections due to complications of that. And so when you look at the maternity, mortality rate of Black women while they're pregnant, the pregnancy mortality rate for Black women is very high. And this could be due to a lot of things. So even the practice that I chose that practice for a reason because they had, it was very diverse. It's mostly, I think it's all women of color and then 1 man. So it was very diverse. Even my whole experience at the hospital, we had a Black anesthesiologist, Black pediatrician. All of our doctors were Black. Like it was just
the women that delivered you were Black.
Yeah, like it was just a really, really dope experience. Even the doctor who ultimately ended up delivering Holland, I remember having that conversation with her, like, you know, I have some concerns, I want to discuss my birth plan, and she kind of joked, and she was like, well, you know, if I'm there, you know, you're gonna be good. So I didn't think she recognized me. So when I'm actually like laying there, like they've already given me my shot, my spinal, I'm like, do you remember what you told me? That you told me that if you did my C-section, you would have my back. And she said yes, and she started laughing, and she helped me. And so we just ultimately had a really good experience. But the data on C-sections just always isn't good, and that sometimes that doctors kind of are quick to rush a C-section, especially on Black women, because it's more convenient for them. They're not waiting around, and it's like it's billed very high. It's like it costs more to have a cesarean.
So let me just ask you this, because like I remember when I was just like super nervous when they took her back to the OR, because they were taking forever to let me in. I'm like, everybody's coming out of the room like, is she okay? Because I'm just in my mind, she's shivering and shaking in her boots because she's listening to what's going on. And really, if you guys ever been in a room with a C-section, it just sounds like you're in a restaurant. Like you just hear like silverware hitting the glass. That's all you hear. It's cold. It's extremely cold.
I thought I was gonna hear like a chainsaw.
No. And then like you do feel the tugging or whatever.
Oh yeah, and then the worst part of it, so what they were doing is when he first did my spinal, and you get so nervous because he's like, can you feel anything? And then I'm like, well, can I feel anything? Like, I want to be sure that I'm, you know, I don't want to say knocked out, but numb, that I'm numb really well. And then they told me I had to stay still, and I was shivering. And then the NICU nurse was there, and she just held me, and she said, I used to be a labor and delivery nurse, because she was just kind of walking me through everything. And then she was just like, you just lean into me and I'll hold you. And then one of the other nurses, our favorite nurse, said a prayer with us, because I was just like crying over this little. Yes.
She said a prayer with you?
With us both when we first got in there.
Oh,
she was
gave
like,
us the courage. Oh, yeah.
She was basically like,
God, I don't know if you believe in God, but.
Well, she asked us first, which was very polite.
She was amazing.
Yes. So we had a really good experience.
We're going to do a review for them.
Yeah. So then I have Holland, and I feel the tug of them remove her from my body. So Queena basically chucks the deuces and leaves me.
I recorded that. Like, and what's so crazy, just to pause, we both have raw footage of like our babies coming out of the womb, like everything. Like I feel like mine.
Yours is very graphic.
Like had intestines hanging out.
Mine just has a lot of blood.
Right. But yeah, we actually have the raw footage, and Harper actually has seen her birth video, and she just like wants to watch it over and over again. And
that's why it trips me out when people are like, well, what are your kids gonna think when they find out like who carried whom? That's a conversation we have all the time, because Harper is older, so she's so smart, so she knows I carried Holland. And so anytime she sees ultrasound, she's like, that's Holland. But sometimes she comes across her ultrasound, and I say, well, that's Harper. Mommy carried Harper. And then she'll say, I was in mommy's belly? Yes. Holland was in your belly? Yes.
Is that like, and of course she doesn't understand it like as much as she will like need to in the future, like how we're all related. And
she understands it more than some of these people in our comments.
No, absolutely. But yeah, she understands. Like she doesn't know the difference of like this is the way it's supposed to be in her head. Like she doesn't know all the negative stuff that society is going to project on her.
I took that one to the head.
But
everything my wife said.
But so another thing, once they had the baby, like Jamil said, the NICU nurse wrapped her up, and they were like, just follow me because you need to do skin to skin, which you guys seen in our video where I was doing skin to skin with her. However, I guess my body heat wasn't popping because I was cold the whole time I was in there. Really, I'm blaming it on the room. But yeah, I couldn't maintain her body heat, so they had to put her under just like a warmer for maybe about an hour until Jamil came.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, until you came.
I don't remember anything about when I came into the room. I think we stayed up for 24 hours. I don't think we ever went to sleep.
But what was amazing is that about kids, well, babies when they're born, because she immediately tried to start nursing on my chest. And I ain't had no milk for her until that was washed up by her sister. But it's just so crazy how they come out.
She seen what I had for her. She ain't had no word. She said, this the one.
She said, this the one.
So after she left me to be with Holland, the longest part of the procedure, I felt like they said that they were irrigating me. I don't know, anyone who's a nurse, a labor delivery nurse, or a doctor, whatever they were doing, it felt very uncomfortable.
Like suctioning you?
Maybe. It just didn't feel very good.
And I don't remember anything. After I seen Holland with me, after I seen Holland, after what I seen Harper, I don't remember. I think the anesthesiologist gave me like another dose of something. Like they finished my dose, and I don't remember anything after that.
Really?
I don't remember.
I wish I didn't remember.
I don't remember anything until waking up and like, where's my baby?
No, because it was really scary with her because I didn't have high blood pressure issues till maybe like a day or two after I gave birth. Sequina had high blood pressure throughout her pregnancy, and then like she said, she had preeclampsia. So they had to put her on magnesium immediately. So when I go to her after Holland, it's these H's, after Harper goes to the NICU, I'm like, okay, I need to go check on my wife. And I remember the NICU nurse was like, you're gonna leave your baby? I'm like, I'm split in two places. I done been up here with y'all for an hour. Y'all got a lot of other babies. Seem like y'all know what y'all doing. I gotta check and see like if my wife is okay. And it was so scary because she was so out of it and she was like shivering and shaking.
I don't understand what that means. Like, I wish you could describe it to me.
You couldn't talk. Like you couldn't form words. You couldn't tell me like if you were okay. Like it's like, okay, I handed y'all a fully capable pregnant woman and y'all took a baby and I don't know what y'all gave me back.
So you mean like, was I responding? Like, I can hear
No, you weren't really responding. And then you were kind of like off in, like not even in a real room. So you were like off in the cut in the corner.
Wait, what? I was weird.
Like off in the cut in the corner, like in an alley.
Like in a hall, like in Grace, how they
like
shut down the dance in the hall?
Yes.
Wow.
No, so like the room that she was in, if I could describe it, okay, you know like how we would go to the emergency room sometimes and they only have curtains in between? So it seems like if someone else was there, they would have just had a curtain in between y'all. So like you weren't in a room by yourself.
I'm confused, but whatever.
Yeah, so it was just like sad. So it was just really sad and scary. And then I'm like, calling her parents, like, hey, baby's born, calling my mom, because I'm there by myself. Because
did you tell them that I wasn't doing good?
No, because I don't think I could even tell them. I think that they were asking me a lot of questions and I was being very vague.
Okay.
Because you don't want to worry anyone, but no one was back there to tell me like, okay, well, she's coming down from magnesium, she's coming down from her spinal,
so
she's
you
okay.
found me by myself.
You were by yourself. You're lost in the woods.
Y'all, I'm not gonna like get too deep in this, but she got a lot of questions to answer after this video because I'm finding out new stuff. Like,
what do you mean? You didn't tell me.
You
didn't tell me Holland was under a warmer, that you didn't even have enough body heat.
Yes, I did have.
Walking around with these little, what are these little things gonna do? So, I've always said that I was scared after you gave birth. I was very scared because she kind of didn't know where she was. I'm looking at our baby here, our big baby. It looked like she was falling off the bed. But anyway, so
Harper's right here, y'all.
Oh, she was sleepy. So yeah, so that was scary. My experience with blood pressure and magnesium, I was like anxious and scary, but it wasn't like hers where she was just like couldn't even talk.
But when I know that, like I said, when they gave me Holland, I was with the NICU nurse. It was me and her in the room, and I'm like, where is my wife? Because I'm like you. I wanted to be torn to go check on you. She's like, no, it normally takes us long. She's all right. And I'm like, you don't know that she's all right because you've been here with me
You've been here
the
with
whole
me.
time. So you're lying to me.
And
I need you to go check.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch, I hear the doctor, they're saying, oh, that's a clean cut you got. And she said, yeah, I was the best in sewing school. And I was like, thinking like, dang, I wonder do they know that I can hear everything that they're saying? Oh, she's not asleep. And then I'm going to remember. But everyone says my incision does look really, really good.
It does look amazing. It just looks like, how like elastic pressing at your skin because it's just too tight. That's what it looks like. Hers looks amazing. Mine is like...
So Christina from Burton's Party at 2 recently did a video about what she wishes she would have known about a C-section, and that she and I are the exact same because she said this, and I thought I was the only one. She said anytime she came across information about a C-section, she just ignored it because she's like, I'm not gonna have one. Mm-hmm. I was the same way. As much as I like to act like I'm so well read, I read everything, I'm so well researched. I researched the data behind C-sections, but I didn't research like recovery in C-sections, and that was the information I needed to know because my recovery was a BITCH because I didn't know anything. Everything I had packed was all around a vaginal delivery. And it took like Sequina really like saying like, because what happened was the first 2 days I was fine. I was up walking. They told me my blood pressure, I had to go on magnesium. I was down in a bed for a day and a half. So that means when I finally was able to get up and walk, it felt like my two parts of my body didn't know each other. And it felt like they were pulling against each other. And I really thought, like, the first time I, like, swung my leg to get out the hospital bed, I thought I had ripped open my incision.
And then, like, even when she was to go use the bathroom,
I screamed.
She couldn't get up. Like, it was just, like, a lot.
It was really bad. And you were really good because the queen was, like, looking at bloody pads. She was changing, like, my bloody pad. And, of course, the nurses were awesome and they were good. But, you know, I think she probably knew me and she knew, like, any little bit of blood, I'm not going to want that on me.
We talking about when she put you back up, I was like, hey. When she left, I was like, I'm going to take that pad off.
And then it's so funny because she was like, I'm going to take that pad off.
But then I got caught.
We didn't realize that I was stuck to so much stuff.
Right.
And then we got caught because she goes in the room and she ended up, like, doing it anyway. But nurses are the real heroes. I mean, because I had to get so many. How many did I have of the thing that they had to stick up so I could pee?
Catheter.
I had about 5 catheters. It was intense. But all the nurses took care of me. But it was a whirlwind. It absolutely.
Like,
and I wasn't prepared.
And for me, I never wanted to give birth vaginal.
She always said she wanted a C-section, and I guess I've always heard the recovery is bad, so I've always just not wanted. But
hey, I've already had surgery. I got like 10 tattoos. I know I can handle it.
When she said that, because I told her because we do compare.
I'm resilient.
We do compare. So I was like, I don't remember you saying your C-section hurt this bad because I was in pain even when I got home. She was like, I had surgery before. I was like, to remove that cyst under your arm.
No, but for me, my recovery wasn't bad because honestly, Harper was in the NICU and I had to go back and forth to the NICU at least 2 to 3 times a day. So it was, and then I was constantly pumping because they was like, you know, the breast milk is what's going to get her out of here. You know, she needs those nutrients. So in my mind, my adrenaline was always rushing. Like, I couldn't really sleep too much at home because I was like, I need to pump. I need to get milk to the NICU. I need to get milk to the NICU. And then it was like my pain, like I just would put a pillow there. Like when Jamilla would ride me up and down the streets, I would just put a pillow there and that was just basically it. But
were you taking any medicine?
They gave me 600 milligram ibuprofen, but then, you know, I'm not even a medicine person. I just stopped. Like,
yeah, I wasn't taking my medicine like that.
But yeah, so, I mean, not to bore you guys off, but, you know, we just wanted to share our labor and delivery stories in comparison.
That was like a drop-off. You wrapped that up really well.
I did.
So yeah, so both of us were pregnant. We both had C-sections. So now when you guys ask, like, if we want another baby, it's a no.
It's a no. We both did. I carried 35 weeks. She carried 36 weeks. We have proven that we cannot carry full term. We don't want to go through that again.
No.
So that's it. You know, we'll be aunties and maybe one day we'll be godparents. You know, other than that,
I better be a godparent.
All right, y'all. Later.
Bye.